Good. So, Steve, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about today. Specifically, obviously, we're going to be talking about Prysm, and we're going to be talking about some of the successes that you're seeing with Prysm, and that this isn't like a success overnight. This is like years in the making. How many years have you been with Nu Skin now?
Over 22 years.
Over 22 years. So this is like decades, like a success made over decades. And all the hard work and energy that you guys have put into understanding Scanner and S3 and all of Farm and X products. And now, like, you're reaping the rewards. It's coming in big time.
These are exciting times. The moment I saw the first biophotonic scanner, I knew that it was something that was going to change the way that we look at health, change the way we look at supplements, and then I understood the opportunity behind it. I was going to school in the Silicon Valley, seeing all my friends do extremely well getting in front of technology launches, and then when I saw this device, it said, this is in complete alignment with what I'm passionate about, and we need to get it out to people, and there's a huge opportunity.
That's great.
Now that it's convenient, we can really unlock the true potential of this technology.
I love it. So before we talk about that, I want people to know you a little bit. And so I mean, you and I have spent some time together. I know your background. But in order to talk a little bit about your background, I want to introduce a concept that I heard. This has been a couple of years ago by the artist and the cartoonist Scott Adams. I don't know if anybody in the comments knows who Scott Adams is, but Scott Adams was the creator of Dilbert. Dilbert, the cartoon, it's kind of like a office cartoon, little guy with curly hair and glasses. But this Scott Adams, he said, anybody can be an expert. And he said, what you're doing is you're not shooting to be in the top 1 or even the top 10% of a specific category. He says the thing that makes an expert is being the top 20, 25% in 3 different adjacent categories that allows you to be successful at what you're doing. So he said what he did is he was a mediocre, maybe a little bit better, top 20% writer. He had his MBA, and he came from corporate America, so he understood like the business background. And he wasn't the greatest artist, but he was in the top, 20% when it came to art. And all of that combined allowed him to be an incredible success with his comic strip. So here's the question for you, because I know, at least what I'm thinking, what your top 20% tiers are, or what those areas are that you're top 20%. What would you say has allowed you to be successful in the category that you positioned yourself in?
Well, I've always been competitive, so I think, being competitive and gamifying things and making it fun, seeing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow and get better, not see them as frustrations, but see them as, okay, how do I win this challenge here? And I know that if I can stack up a bunch of wins and win enough challenges, then that's what leads to success.
Yeah.
I've done sales all my life. I've always enjoyed sales when I believe in something. And so in order to sell something, I do my research to, 1, believe in it myself, and then I can convey that to other people in simple ways. Yeah. And, sales is nothing more than educating people. Yeah. It's influencing people to see the value of what you're offering them to solve their problem.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it is, right?
Yeah. So when you were in college, from what I understand, that you were doing sales and you were the top sales guy at where you were working. I can't remember.
Yeah, there's a company that's no longer in business called The Good Guys, but it was a high-end home theater company, and I was the top salesperson every month I worked there.
Jeez, that's incredible. So you found, and I'm sure as you're winning and you're a top sales guy, you're like, this is fun. So you find that you have this skill and this talent. But you also, so you're in the top 20% when it comes to sales anyways, that expertise. So the other thing that I see is that you have expertise in healthcare. Mm-hmm. And so tell us a little bit about that journey and how that combines with sales.
Yeah, so I was originally going to be an orthopedic surgeon, got a little fed up with traditional allopathic medicine. I wanted to do more wellness, believing that the body has the ability to stay healthy. Our bodies are self-healing organisms, and if we can promote more health and wellness, then people are going to be healthier. And I saw so many people just getting sick unnecessarily because of their poor choices, their diet, their behavior. And then the answers would be drugs, surgery, but not really getting to the root issue.
Yeah.
So I decided to go into wellness and there wasn't really functional medicine or anything of that 25 years ago. So I went to chiropractic college out in California and got through that and was going to be an entrepreneur as a provider going into practice. And living in the Silicon Valley, I learned about the biophotonic scanner because I was just looking for a side gig that I had flexibility where I could make some money, do something I was passionate about. And I saw that Nu Skin did, a lot of the complicated stuff like the shipping and the fulfillment and all the things that I didn't have time or didn't really want to learn. I just wanted to talk to people about their health and figure out what supplements they should take. And Nu Skin then had this biophotonic scanner, which was such an incredible solution for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So healthcare and kind of your interest in, I guess, science, but more specifically human biology. And then also the sales background that you have and the skill set that you have there has really propelled you to be successful. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to have those skills to be successful at Nu Skin, but definitely that's one thing that has set you apart, I would say.
Yeah, I think if you can just take whatever skills you have, and if you have a few skills that you're successful at and you can apply it to the business, my skills were healthcare and sales, right? And then I just gamify and I'm pretty gritty, right? I'll just be extremely persistent and I'll outwork most people. Yeah. And I think to be able to be focused for that long and to solve issues and just say, okay, I just need to figure this out. And when you work hard and you're consistent, the game will teach you how to play it. Like you'll figure out the solutions, you'll figure out how to solve them, and you'll start winning over time. And you have to have that persistence, right, to figure things out. And then you start to get these wins under your belt, and then you start to really blossom. But in the beginning, it was frustrating. I would have like a win here and a win there, and I could never figure out the patterns. Yeah. But when you take massive action, you'll start to get some wins, and then you'll figure out what works, where your weaknesses are. Like my weakness was I didn't do any public presentations for 2 years. I was afraid of public speaking. Yeah. And I got pushed to get in front of there, and it was completely uncomfortable. Yeah. And then I learned over time to welcome that feeling of uncomfortable because the next area of growth and success is on the other side of it. Yeah. And rather than taking that in as being fearful of doing something new, to take that in as its enthusiasm, its excitement, right? Yeah. The best roller coasters are the scariest ones, right? Because some people will look at that as fear, but a lot of people will process that same fear as excitement. And if you do that in life and in challenges and in the business, you start to shift your mentality to saying, that's not scary, that's actually fun and enthusiastic because imagine what's going to happen on the other side of that.
Yeah, that's a great point. My kids, whenever they have an opportunity to speak, and I'm like, how do you feel? And they're like, I'm nervous. Or before a big game. All of my kids have played lacrosse and are playing lacrosse. And when I ask them, and they're saying, I've got butterflies or I'm nervous, I always tell them, that's not fear, that's excitement because you're about to do something great. Yeah. And that's a great mindset. So you guys, in the comments, I want to see from you, from all those that are joining us live, what are some of the skills and talents that you have that combined, maybe you're not in the top 1 or the top 10%, but these skills and talents allow you to set you apart from the population when combined. They create a unique set of abilities to be able to take Nu Skin to the world. I'd love to see in the comments what you guys think. So, Stephen, now that we kind of understand you a little bit more, you've been around for 22 years, healthcare, but also your love of sales and competitive. You are seeing something different right now. There's an energy that I've known you for 5 years now. And there's an energy that I'm feeling that that you're experiencing in your business now that I don't think I know I haven't felt this from you the entire time. Tell me what you're experiencing and why.
Yeah, so when I started the business, I didn't know anything about network marketing, but I love this concept of, okay, you can offer a product to somebody, get paid on those customers, but before when I did sales, it was all about me and what I could sell. And every month I started over from zero. Yeah. And so this idea of being able to recruit somebody and now amplify that message, but also amplify my business without employees, without risk. And I said, well, I trained other people how to sell stereos, and I never got paid anything from that. Yeah. And I just looked and said, what a beautiful business where we can give people the same opportunity that we have And then Nu Skin will then pay us to help them and teach them what to do. And then we can replicate that process. And we have the ability to scale a business indefinitely without having to have additional resources because we're leveraging everything with Nu Skin. The challenge that I saw with this was the scanners when I started were really expensive and really hard to get. It was, I signed up, they said, we think we can get you one in 6 to 12 months. That was, if you could get one faster, there was a waiting period. There was a 3-year lease that we had to sign.
Yeah.
Right? It was $300-something a month just for the lease on the scanner. And this is in, $2,003. Imagine that, right? So there are some major barriers and hurdles, but you had to be thinking a little bit differently about the business. And so when I looked at this, I said, okay, well, I'm going to go bring it to chiropractors because I know chiropractors, and I'll put it in their offices. And that was challenging to do. But with the lease and everything, I figured, okay, if I could put it in a business, that was the model. What I love about Prysm is $300 is a one-time purchase. Anybody can have it. And so it really unlocks all the potential that we couldn't go after before. Like, because, I didn't have a friend that could buy a biophotonic scan. Right? If I wanted to do health screening events, it was super expensive, and it was a big commitment to do that. Now, for $300, right, and we have a starter kit that we recommend for $750, so people are trying the products as well. I mean, it's so easy. I mean, even if someone's not even sure if they want to commit to the business, I say, why don't you just get the device, try some of the products, and try it out for a little bit, and we'll talk in a month or so. Right? And so before it was like you had to sell this whole big business with a big commitment up front. And now that barrier is so low that it's so much easier. It's just reduced all the friction, and it's unlocked so many other channels that we can talk to successfully.
So because I know that you're talking with a lot of people, you're talking with influencers, you've got business that's down in Latin America, you've got a social media business, you've also got healthcare providers. So you're talking with a whole breadth of individuals that are building their business using different systems, different channels. When it comes to Prysm and all the conversations up till now that you've had about Prysm, what are the things that you see when people experience the Prysm, like the aha moments that they're like, oh my gosh, because you're dealing with expertise, you're dealing with individuals that understand the problems. What are the things that all of a sudden when they see this, they're like, oh my gosh, this is going to revolutionize the world?
Yeah. Well, I think when you have them scan, right? I mean, when they see their number, they want to know, what is that? What does that mean? And if you just demo it, give them experience. I mean, I think about, like, when I bought my last car, I wasn't sure if I was going to buy that BMW. I was looking at Audi. I was going back and forth. And the salesperson said, hey, I was able to get one at our dealer. Why don't we just take it for a ride? Yeah. And I took it for a ride. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I want one. Yeah. And I think if we can just demo it and it's basically just show and tell. I mean, we learned that in kindergarten. Yeah. And when people can experience that Prysm, and the app is getting so much better, the story's getting so much better, it's getting so much easier. We have so many tools and resources that we can share. I mean, I can sit down and I can talk to somebody, right? But I've been doing this a long time. Now you guys are producing all these great videos that someone can just play. And I remember the first business presentation that I had to give on my own. My upline wasn't there. I had just moved to Florida. I drove up to Jupiter. It was an hour from where I was living. And I'm like, I have no idea how to present this thing. And I brought a DVD, and I just put it in the DVD player, and I had everybody watch it. And the business now has got that simple again, where you guys have tools that you can just say, hey, watch this, or we can watch this together. You don't necessarily have to be the expert anymore, because Prysm is something that people instantly understand. Yeah.
Okay, so you scan them, but there is, you said the show and tell. The tell portion, there's got to be an explanation there that people are like, oh my gosh, this is different. So this isn't like any of the normal wearables that you have. This is different. What is it when you're explaining things that you're seeing light bulbs go off?
Well, one, I talk to them a little bit about themselves. I think that that's the best thing to do. I think if you just go in and pitch somebody, they're going to be resistant almost immediately because they feel like you're selling to them. And so just naturally engage with people and say, where are you going? Like, I was on an airplane on my way here to Utah, and the lady next to me, I just said, are you guys going on vacation, or where are you headed to? And, they always say where they're going. I said, oh, what are you going there for? Are you going to visit family? And they said, no, we're going to a conference. I said, what conference is it? Oh, it's for dermatology. I'm like, you're kidding, right? And then I will talk a little bit about they asked what I do. And I said, well, I'm going to a conference as well. we're launching this great technology that can actually measure how healthy your skin is. So I would relate it a little bit to them.
Yeah.
But in general, what I talk about is that the Prysm device measures cellular health, cellular protection, cellular nutrition, right? And when our cells are healthy, the rest of our body is healthy.
Yeah. So does that message alone, does that get people, or do you find that there's certain individuals, because in the sales process, let's go back to the sales process. When you're talking sales process, when people, there's a point of pain. When people are like, oh my gosh, I've got a problem and I've been looking for this or thinking about it, and you present a solution, that's when they're like, yes.
Yeah.
So what is the pain point that you're seeing that, because when you talk cellular protection, people aren't walking around, they're not saying, oh man, I wish my cells were protected, but what is the pain point that you see, because you've had these conversations hundreds of times, maybe probably even thousands of times since we rolled out Prysm. But what is the pain point that you see that, whether it's a healthcare practitioner or an individual, and maybe that's different, but what are the pain points that you see that Prysm is addressing that allows them to finally be like, oh, yes, I'm in?
Well, it depends on the person, right? If fundamentally, if we understand that everything we do related to our health and our goals is based on our cellular health, then when we talk to people, and she said she's in dermatology, I'm going to talk about the importance of this for skin health.
Yeah.
Right? And her husband was diabetic, and we never want to talk about disease and so forth, but I would say, nutrition plays an important role in that as well. And so what this is measuring is your nutritional protection in your body. And I was like, do you guys take supplements?
Yeah.
And then I'll lead it to, what do you do proactively? Well, do you take supplements? Have you ever wondered if they're working? How do you know?
Yeah.
I said, this can also tell you if your supplements are working, if they're providing enough protection. And that plants the seed to say, wait a minute, I have these concerns. I'm doing something about it. I don't know if what I'm doing is working. And now you're able to show me that it's not working that great, and you're offering me a better solution. Tell me about your solution.
That's great. So the two things that you mentioned were, one, I think people are, I know that I take all different types of supplements, and I'm taking them for all different types of reasons: gut health, immunity, longevity, muscle recovery, all of that kind of stuff. But you wonder, like, am I wasting my money? Is this actually working? And so individuals, I think that is addressing that need of, like, am I wasting my money, or am I doing what I really actually need? The other thing that you mentioned is, are we eating enough fruits and vegetables? And I do kind of think this because my wife is constantly saying, well, you're not eating enough vegetables. But I wonder if that's also one of these major pain points where people are like, is my diet sufficient? We talked about it on this broadcast before, that people inherently believe that they have better nutrition than they do. And this is a device that shows them your nutrition is not where it should be.
Actually, people are starting to understand that they're not getting enough nutrition. Before they thought they did, but I think people are a lot more aware that they're not getting enough nutrition. And so that was something else that would blend into the conversation, right? We're not eating enough fruits and vegetables. The quality of our food is not where it used to be because of the way that we industrialize our food supply.
Yeah.
The nutrients aren't in the soil, they're not in the food. The things that we're eating the fruits and vegetables are picked weeks or months before they get to us. And so we're not getting these nutrients in our body to keep our cells healthy. And so what we can do now is we can measure if you're getting enough of these, and then if you're not getting them from your diet, we then have supplements that actually are proven to work, and we can guarantee it, so it takes the guesswork out of it. And I think that when you can align around a common enemy, right, in a way, right? The common enemy is we've industrialized and destroyed our food sources.
Yeah.
And I think when people understand, it's like, okay, that's a problem I can't fix. What can I do about it? And that's where supplements come in.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So I've seen so far as we're starting. So there's a book that's called Crossing the Chasm, and in this book, I think it was written in the 90s. It could have been the 2000s. It feels like so long ago. The 90s was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But yeah, I think
my kids actually call the 90s the 1900s.
Yeah, that makes sense. But this book, Crossing the Chasm, it talks about new technology. And when it launches, it first goes into this this group that understands the problem like really, really well. And they grab onto that technology. It might have bugs and things like that, but they grab onto it and they love it and they move with it initially. The chasm is when you cross into the early adopters of the mass population, and how you get across that chasm. He gives some steps in there. But what I see is that right now we have a couple of these early adopters in this initial phase. And some of these early adopters that we have right now are healthcare providers. So as I've tried to think about this, there's a couple of things when I see the success of healthcare providers. One, because of the letters that they have in front of their names or after their names, like MD, that gives them increased credibility, increased trust.
Sometimes.
Have you seen it the other way?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But overall, would you say that that's true, that there's trust?
Well, I think that, trust needs to be established. It could be established by credentials, but it could be established in knowledge base. The reason why I was the top seller in stereos was because I learned about the products and I gave people just a couple choices. I didn't overwhelm them with too many choices. And they trusted that I knew what I was talking about. And so when you're going out there and talking about Prysm and talking about products, you've got to learn about the products. So you have to know what you're talking about. This is something where people are getting a lot of education and they're going to buy from people that they trust and people that are teaching them something that they didn't know.
Yeah.
And if you think you're just going to go out there and just talk about something that you don't know, you don't believe in, you don't use, you're not going to build trust with that person, and they're going to go buy from somebody else that has a little bit more confidence.
Yeah. So I guess the thing would be don't stop.
Yeah.
Go and study. Like if you get out there, have conversations, go to gyms, go and start having conversations. Before you go, like if you've got that date, feel the pressure and be like, I've got to study LifePak. I've got to study G3. I've got to study, collagen, and understand what the features and the benefits of those products are. Yep. Maybe even some of the science behind those products. And so when you get in that situation, you feel confident having the discussion. And the thing is, Steve, I bet as you've had so many of these discussions, you know what interests people. You know how to talk about products in a way that's going to be interesting. And it comes from that knowledge of actually doing. So you can study, and never actually practice. Yeah. It doesn't mean anything.
Well, I think you brought up a really good point also when you look at how things come into the market, where you have violent opposition, then you have your pioneers, early adopters, early majority, right, and so on and so forth. I've also seen some charts on that where as that cycle goes up, you kind of have the hype cycle and the initial enthusiasm, and then reality hits in, and it's not as easy as you thought it was. Yeah. And a lot of people then say, well, this isn't easy, this isn't working, I'm going to go back to doing what I was doing before. And they miss the whole opportunity because they didn't push through the adversity. Yeah. Right? And so then that hype cycle kind of tears off. The people that continue, they become the experts, and they're the ones that get the market share. And that's a lot what happened with the launch of the S1, S2, S3, is our team just stuck through it when everybody else saw it was too difficult. Yeah. And then what happens is then things can kind of, that hype cycle, and you can kind of lose market share a little bit, and companies will move on to other things. But when you actually have a product that is a great product, after the initial hype cycle finishes up, you see a second wave, right? And we're going into that second wave right now. Yeah. And now we've got a market that's ready for it more than ever. People are investing in it. Like, I'm meeting with people that are 18, 19 years old that are willing to spend $100 a month on supplements. Like, that was unheard of years ago because people are prioritizing their health more than ever today. And now you've got Prysm that makes it more affordable to people. You've got all the trends now that are converging, and we have a 20-year history that we know that this business works. Yeah. And if it's not working for you, that just means that you've got to learn and get a little bit better, not give up, but push through that adversity, because that's where success is. We always know that.
So going down this path of talking about these early expert adopters, I think they find some success because they've got the credentials and the credibility immediately, which goes back to, like, we need to understand the product so we can get the credibility with Prysm and understanding the products that we're selling. But the second thing is, I wonder, and you tell me this, because I've been thinking a lot about you and your business and your team. And not only that, but we've seen gym owners and trainers, and we've seen other people in med spas that have jumped on this. And my assumption is, and this is where I need your help, is that these individuals, they have clients and they know that nutrition is one of the best paths into wellness. And it's one of the things that they can't measure. Like if you're a patient and you walk in and you ask somebody, so how's your diet? They're going to be like, great, I'm good. But their standard of what is good is different than what somebody that understands nutrition, what a nutritionist might say. And now these individuals actually have a device that will give them a measurement for everybody. And so once they actually can show people, okay, you think you're eating a healthy diet, now I have a device that will show that diet is not as healthy as you think. Now we can have a real conversation about what changes you need to make. Yeah. Is that kind of what you're seeing, or is my assumption correct?
Well, 3 out of 4 people already take a supplement, and most of them don't know if it's working, right? And so if you can come in there and give them a better solution and take the guesswork out of it, I mean, it's actually pretty simple. So when I first joined the business, I said, okay, well, the goal is to get customers. How do I find customers the fastest? Well, I can find my friends, my family. I could go to my gym. I could do traditional network marketing. I have some friends that are chiropractors that have 1,000 patients. Like I could access a lot of people that way. So the game is really how many, not hands anymore, how many fingers can you put on that device? And then the law of averages is just going to kick in. Yeah. So I'll scan people, like my wife's friend was over the other day. She went on a $300 subscription because she says, hey, what are you doing for your workouts? And we actually started talking about working out fasting. And I was taking an amino acid product that wasn't a Nu Skin product. And she said, what amino acid are you taking? And I told her what I'm doing and how I'm working out. And then she goes, what else do you do? And I opened up my cupboard and I said, this is my supplement stack. And it was all Pharmanex stuff. And she goes, okay, I'll buy all that stuff. Wow. Right? And so when you become a product of the product, I know it sounds kind of cliche, but when you do that, people are going to say, well, I want what you're doing. If you're having success, if you're making progress, people are watching that. And so you've got to improve your score. Yeah. I was at a business networking event a few days ago where I got invited to speak, and one guy wanted to scan, and he goes, I'm taking all these supplements, I'm doing this, right? And he scanned 170.
Whoa. What was his physique like?
He was muscular, but if you looked at him, he didn't look healthy.
Wow.
Right? And so he's doing all these things, and he's thinking, and he's like, well, I was drinking over the weekend. I'm like, well, we're looking at the last couple months. And so it kind of got him thinking again. And people are either going to accept that, or what he tried to do is say, well, I don't necessarily believe in that. And it's okay, right? Yeah. We're not going to convince everybody. His opinion doesn't matter. Like the technology has been well proven. The products have been well proven. And then the guy next to him who does do better and eats healthier, he scanned like 370. There's another woman that wanted to get scanned. She went on product right away. Yeah. And I think one of the other important things to ask people when they're ready to go on product is to ask them what their budget is. Yeah. Like around what is your budget that you want to invest, not spend, but invest in your health. Because sometimes we think, well, it's expensive or people aren't going to spend the money. Well, I mean, I just saw a post. I have a friend that works for Red Bull, and she had a picture of all the Red Bull cans, and it was like $4 and something cents for one can of that stuff. Yeah. Right? So people are investing in these things. We just have to relate to that.
You drink one of those cans a day, that's $120 a month.
Yeah, you can look at coffee. You can relate it to a gallon of gas. Like Life Pack is cheaper than a gallon of gas a day for your body.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. So we got a couple of questions coming in, and some of these I think are all relating. Someone said, how do you start before scanning? Any tips for getting people excited to become experts in a product? How do you make people want to learn about a product? So I'm seeing, how, and I'm guessing these questions are people saying, well, how do I get my team excited about a product? If you ask that question, put that in the comments below. I want to know if you're talking specifically about your team. How do you get them excited about a product? I have some thoughts, but I want to hear yours. Like, Steve, how would you help somebody get excited about a product? A team member.
I mean, if you share your testimonial, I mean, that's an easy thing, right? You use it yourself and you share it, or you get a few people using the same product. Hey, why don't we all try this product together and we'll share what it's doing for us? I think that's an easy way of doing it.
Yeah, so I was going to say something similar. Your own testimonial, but once somebody has their own testimonial, if they're not excited about a product, it's because they have not put it to the test. They don't see the need for it. And because they don't see the need for it, they're not trying it. And because they're not trying it, they're not talking about it. And this is where we as affiliates, we should be tinkering and toying with things on a regular basis. Like, for example, Prysm. I'll tell you my story, you guys. The first time I scanned with the S3 scanner is I went up to Canada. It wasn't even here. I went up to Canada. I was in our office, and our manager up there, Jim, he said, hey, while you're here, let's scan you. And I was like, I've never scanned before. Like, does this really work? I scanned, what do you think I scanned? Any guesses?
260.
I don't even remember.
26,000.
I don't even remember.
I'm going to say you were in the orange.
I was in the orange.
Yeah.
Okay, I was in the orange. And I was like, I feel okay. And then the Prysm came out. And the Prysm, we had all of the executives in a room back here, and we had the Prysm. Everybody was scanning. We were comparing the S3 with the Prysm, and I scanned in the orange again, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I'm going to be doing this, I need to take this seriously and be using our products and see how this improves my score. Today, I think yesterday I was at 600. So I'm in the blue, like right in the blue, maybe purple, I don't know. But I'm solid in that area now. And I know that the products that I'm using are working. Yeah. And because of that, I take Nano every day. I take G3 every day. I take Youth every day because I know that this is helping improve my score. And I feel better doing it. So backing up and saying, okay, team, how do we get our team involved? They've got to feel like I've got to do it. The funny thing is when everybody was scanning, I was standing in the back of the room and I would see all the scores come up and I would turn to people, I'd be like, that makes sense. Anyways, I was just trolling people as they were scanning.
Well, I think we also have to find out what they want.
Yeah.
Right? And I was listening to someone just the other day, and they said, if you want someone to eat the asparagus, and it may not have been exactly like this, but if you want them to eat the asparagus and they don't want to eat the asparagus, wrap it in bacon. So give them something that they want and get them to take the thing that they necessarily may not be that excited about. And so if you find out, like I have a friend that wanted to run marathons. So rather than talk about wellness and cellular health, I said, here's something that's going to help you run better and recover better. Right? I'm going to give you guys a tip right here. So here's New Biome. Like this is a product. It's a pre and postbiotic. It has a little bit of caffeine in it. It's good for gut health, and now we have a bloating claim. I never cared about bloating. I never really took this product that much. But I started to get into a workout routine a few months ago, and I said, you know what, I want to work on my gut health. I said, you know what, this would be a great product to just take before I work out. And now, so this is my pre-workout. So I put this in water, and now I drink this before I work out. I get a little bit of sustained caffeine. I get these gut benefits. I'm drinking water, which is good to do before you work out. And so who would have, it's never marketed as a workout product,
right?
But I started using it and that's my routine. So maybe we have a few people on here that's going to go up there, you're going to go buy New Biome, start using it for your pre-workout, and that's the way to get people to start trying a product.
But I like that, the way that you position that, wrap it in bacon. Wrap anything in bacon and people will try it. Yeah, or it's like with your dog and you got to give him medicine, put it in, what do? You put it in some type of food and give it to him, you know. Okay, let's see. What are some of the other questions? Okay, they asked a question, how do you start before scanning someone?
So I use a questionnaire that we developed, and so I have them fill out the questionnaire. Sometimes I'll have them watch a video, so you can have them watch a video about the device. That way you don't feel like you're selling and trying to explain everything. They fill out the questionnaire, I get the Prysm ready, and then I look at their questions and I just meet them where they are. I want to know, what are your health concerns you want to address? What is your budget? What are you doing right now? Are you motivated? One of the questions is, would you like me to recommend supplements for you?
Yeah.
Like, just ask for permission to do it. Sometimes people just get in there and they start selling and you haven't asked for permission yet.
Yeah.
If you just ask for permission, say, oh, I see that you wanted me to make a recommendation for you for supplements. And like, yeah. And say, okay, well, great. Let me make some and you'll find out that those little things make that process go so much smoother. And then we designed a marketing piece as well that we walk through, that process too, and then we make the recommendation for people.
That's great. So we're getting another question in here that says, does the follow-up email send customers to the Nu Skin site through the photo recommendation? So I'm not quite following what that question is, but I'm going to tell you guys about something that is put in place that I'm really excited about. We do have a drip system here at Nu Skin, and the emails are only going to those individuals that click to say, I want to receive marketing emails or communications from Nu Skin. So now, this was just, I think, a couple of weeks ago, we put this in place. If somebody buys Life Pack, within 10 minutes, they get an email that says, basically, congratulations, here's why Life Pack is amazing, you're going to love this. And then a couple of weeks later, they're getting another email that's talking about the benefits of subscription. A couple of weeks later, they're talking about stick with it, here's the benefits. It's like constantly educating on the benefits of Life Pack. Now, why is that important? I've gone through and looked at those leaders that we have in our business that have consistently high GSV, consistently high sales themselves, and have a high conversion of customer to affiliate. Mm-hmm. And in all of those cases, those individuals had a system for managing and communicating with customers. So once they get a customer in, that wasn't the end of the journey with them. Once they got a customer in, that became the starting point for nourishing the relationship, building the knowledge, and also expanding the opportunities or the offerings for that individual. And oftentimes I think within our business, we just sold a product, moving on to the next customer. And that's not what we should be doing. Customers drive to new affiliates. New affiliates drive to LOIs. LOIs drive to brand reps. So if you've got sales within your organization, you need to have a system for helping drive those sales into a conversation about doing before and after pictures, scanning, getting on subscription, and then joining the business. Like, it should be built in. Now, ours that we've got on the company side, it's basically a drip campaign to help sustain that customer long-term with product knowledge, making sure that they're recognizing the benefits of it, and also giving them the information about loyalty and staying on with subscription.
I think that's incredible, right? Because we often are so busy as affiliates doing other things that anything that can be automated should be automated. Yeah. And so the fact that the company is doing that to educate our consumers, because we found that when customers are educated, they're more loyal. The reason why affiliates are so loyal to the products is because they're engaged with it, but customers aren't as connected, and so this is a great way to automate that connection.
So watch for more of those. And here's the challenge that I'm giving to everybody that's on this call, is that as you are helping customers get in and place an order, I would recommend that they click that box for offers, but more importantly, so that they get education on how to use it, why it's important, why it works the way that it does, why they're going to get the benefits that they're going to get, and then all of the other things that we talked about to help create that customer and make them sticky. Not only for the Nu Skin business, but specifically for your business. We want to make it easy to qualify as brand rep, to maintain that, and really to have customers for life.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So you have roughly, 80% of your business is coming from subscription?
Yeah.
How does that happen? Because all the other business, I look at North America alone, it's about 50% of our business, sometimes 60% of our business is on subscription. How do you get 80% of your business?
Because everyone I sign up is on subscription. I mean, the only reason it's not closer to 100% is because we have kits that drive that percentage down. But we sell subscriptions to everybody. Like, that's our sales process, is scan them, put them on subscription, and rescan them.
Yeah. So it's a standard that you set in your business.
Yeah, we never. I don't even think my team knows that you can do one-time orders. It's everyone's a subscription.
It's a subscription business.
It's a subscription.
Okay,
business.
I like that. So you're creating a culture where this is the standard for the organization. This is all that we do.
Well, as long as you're breathing oxygen and you're not getting nutrients from your food, you need these every single day.
Right.
And so anything that you want to consistently do, you need to automate.
Yeah.
So you need to consistently take your supplements. I don't want to have to reorder them every time. So the subscription program saves you time and money. Just automate it right out of the gate.
I love that. It saves you time and money. We had Amanda Carr on months ago. And we asked her the question. We were like, how do you get people on subscription? She's like, as I'm closing them out, she's like, hey, would you want me to help you save 10% on your order? And they're like, yeah, sure. And she was like, sign up for loyalty. You're going to save money on every order. And if they're like, no, I don't want to save money, great. There's benefits that you get on top of that, but yeah, great.
One of the things I tell people is I want you to be on this for at least 90 days because it takes nutrition some time. And so if you go on subscription, it saves you time and money. You don't have to reorder it, and then we can see how you're doing. Yeah. So I'm selling. I used to sell I have to be on this forever. Now they're calculating out this long-term expense. Yeah. I said I want you to be on this for at least 90 days to see how you're doing. Yeah. And people can commit to 90 days.
The way that we should think about customers, in affiliates, you guys are affiliates. The way that we should think about customers is not transactional. It's not like, oh, I got my $100. I'm moving on to the next one. You should think about a customer as not horizontally, but vertically, meaning that customer should be buying multiple times from you, and it shouldn't be like one-time transaction. It should be generating a relationship with that customer that goes on for months and years. Yeah. And that should, you should think about a customer every time you get a customer, if you have this system set up, that customer, you should be like, I got a new customer. That's $1,000 in the life cycle of that customer. $500 in the life cycle of that customer. I'm getting paid today for this one, but it's going to be paying months and months and months down the road.
I have one particular customer I reference a lot that I met when I lived in California 22 years ago. I sat down with them for about, 45 minutes or so. The husband and wife both went on product. Yeah. And then I started seeing they have a $500 order every month, years later. And I'm like, what is going on? I just called them. It was years since I talked to them. Yeah. I didn't have any relationship with them after that fact. And she was telling me about the health benefits that she was receiving. And she goes, I'll never go off these products. And then I started getting paid out of Sweden. I'm like, I don't know anybody in Sweden. They had moved to Sweden, continued their subscription. Wow. And I was calculating out just for fun how much money I made over the lifetime value of that customer for 22 years, what I made for that 1 hour of work. And it was, am I allowed to say?
Sure, we've got a disclaimer, but
I've made tens of thousands of dollars from one customer. Yeah. Right? Because they went on subscription and they got benefits of the product. And so when we present, understanding that the lifetime value of a customer is what saves us time, right? Because now it saves us time. So spending that extra time, investing that extra time up front is good for our business. But also when we present it and we position and we're talking to our customers, always focus on what's the value, what's the benefit that my customer is going to get on the product, not focus on the money that I'm going to make. Right? And so the benefit to my customers, they're going to save time and money, but the benefit is of being on a subscription, they're going to get the benefits of this product, because if you want to get the benefits of nutrition, you need to be on it long term. And so the subscription gives them an easy way to get that long-term health benefit.
I love that, because oftentimes when we're spending time with a customer and you look at the commissions off that one, you're like, ugh, was it even worth it? But it is, you guys. And this is where it's it's not about the one interaction. It's not about the one sale. The support, the relationship, the pipeline that you have that comes after, that is where I shouldn't say this, but that's where the commissions are made. That's where businesses are made. It's the retention of those customers over the long haul. But you're up front, you've got to have those conversations to be able to retain them, and then have the systems in place to retain them long term that generates the volume, that stacks up, that compounds.
A customer that spends $1 with you is 7 times more likely to make another purchase from you. Right? And so this is something I've got to get better at as well, is that to follow up with those customers. I had a customer that called because their shipment didn't go out. And they called me and say, hey, I haven't received my order in a couple months.
Yeah.
And I said, what are you taking? And he told me what he's taking. I said, hey, you should try the ageLOC Youth too. He goes, yeah, I'm getting great products on LifePak Nano and this other product. He goes, I'll buy that too. And I upgraded him. I said, hey, do you know about our Lumi Spa? He goes, what's that? I said, it's the #1 beauty device in the world. I said, this would be a great present for your wife for Mother's Day. And she goes, and he goes, that would be great. He goes, I'm buying it, right? So I just saved him time, right, by making a recommendation because he already trusted our product line. And I said, it's the #1 beauty device in the world. This would be a great gift for your wife. And he goes, awesome. One less thing I've got to do. And a customer that was calling me because they didn't receive their shipment now ended up buying $700 of product happily.
Yeah. And you just increased the lifetime value of that customer. Imagine if you did that with every customer. Imagine if every one of our affiliates did that with every customer. It would be massive, the type of volume that would be flowing through our business. And this is where, if you think about businesses as a funnel that have little leaks, it's where you're patching things up and making that funnel more optimized and robust. And yeah, like that was great. Great tips on how to make sure that customer, you're getting the most out of that customer lifetime value.
You can even take make a habit of this, right? This is an idea I'm going to actually launch in my team now, is take a day or a half a day and just call it customer appreciation.
100%.
And just block out like the third Wednesday of every month for a few hours and just say, I'm just going to go and call my customer. Say, hey, I just want to check in, see how you're doing on the product. You need to get rescanned. We have this new Prysm device if you want it for your family. Are there any other health issues or other things, any other products that I could recommend to you? Just touch base with people.
Have a system. So I know I'm heading out to Wisconsin this weekend to be with some leaders, and I know the leader out there. I was talking with her about her system. Once she gets a customer, she immediately sets up reminders in her email, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, so that it's pinging her. And on those days, she has all of the individuals that she needs to follow up with. Those are the first people that she talks with, because to your point, they're 7 times more likely to buy products from her, 7 times more likely to become affiliate, 7 times more likely to get on subscription.
Yeah.
But we have to be having the conversations, which means to do that, you have to have the systems in place that will drive the activity. So
you have to schedule it, right?
Yes.
You have to schedule.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know about you. I come up with all these ideas, and they end up in some notebook, is some document, and I implement it for a little bit. But when you schedule it on a regular basis, that's when you can actually fully, because now you're not having to remember it.
Right.
You're scheduling it. Something to do, and then it becomes a habit. It becomes a discipline. It becomes part of what you do in your business.
And I don't care if it's a notebook. I don't care if it's you're doing it through email. I don't care if you got your own professional drip campaign, guys. Have something. Yes, Customer Care Friday, whatever it is. If you will spend the time following up with those customers, you're increasing the lifetime value of them and increasing the likelihood that they're going to stay with you for not months, but for years. Steve, this has been awesome. I didn't intend for this to get into like customer retention, but the conversation has been amazing. You guys, in the comment, I want to hear from you. What are some of the takeaways from this call? What are the big things that you took away that you're going to be implementing in your business? Let us see in the comments. Watch for this to be the recording. We're going to be posting it on the Prysm page, and I also believe we've got the IWR page as well. This will also be in the on YouTube. So stay tuned, watch for that. Share this, guys. Get the message out, because this is where we're refining how people are taking integrated wellness and beauty to the world. And